Hello and welcome to Something in the Wild. I'm Tyler Smith, as always, and I'm here today because, last episode I went over my bow or my arrow builds, was doing a little bit of arrow tuning and stuff while I was talking to you, and I thought, why not stick with the trend and go over my muzzleloader setup. So I also need to make a couple adjustments here, because I'm getting ready for my trip out to Colorado and got a muzzleloader elk tag in my pocket. So I need to tune this up and get it ready for the Colorado laws. And, you might be wondering what those laws are. Well, I'm going to get into that here in a minute. But first, I have a little bit of announcement, housekeeping type thing. So first of all, the website, somethinginthewild.com, just dropped the newly updated version. We had something out before, but just updated kind of the look and feel. If you guys might have noticed, I also updated the logo, kind of tried to make it a little bit more modern. So that logo is now live on the website, as well as some new features, some new stuff that's going on in there. So go check that out, somethinginthewild.com. And let's get right into it. So, first of all, I'm going to go over the components of what I'm using for my muzzleloader, and then I'm going to go ahead and explain kind of the rules around Colorado law and their muzzleloader season and what you need to know if you are going out to try and hunt, any sort of big game in Colorado. So, first things first, I guess we can kind of work forward from the primer. So to start off, what I use for my primer are these Federal Premium muzzleloader primers, the 209. I don't know. I mean, I just kind of went to Sportsman's Warehouse and just picked up primers. These had pretty good reviews, so they work well. But they're right here, these little tiny things. No issues with them. I don't know if anyone has had issues with primers, but that's what I use for that. Next thing, a little bit more important here, is the Blackhorn 209 muzzleloader black powder. So this is just black powder made for inline muzzleloaders. Now, I'll get into the first rule of Colorado muzzleloader. So you have to use loose powder. You cannot use the pellets like some people use, like the 777 pellets. You cannot use these. You have to use loose powder. And that creates a little bit of a challenge whenever you are out in the field. Whenever stuff starts to get wet, inevitabilities happen where your gear doesn't always perform to the level that it should. And you always want to make sure whenever you're loading your weapon to pack it very, very tight, specifically with the powder. Because if you don't, and this has happened to me before at the range, the bullet will just barely squeak out of the barrel. Like it'll, just like a little tiny, it won't go any distance. I remember the one time I went to the range, and I'm pretty, you could see the bullet fly out of the barrel of the gun, and it went like 10 feet. I was like, well, that's not right. So you always want to make sure that you're packing the powder very, very tight and keeping it dry. So that is rule number one. Rule number two that Colorado is kind of known for is that you can't have a scope on your muzzleloader. You have to use iron sights. So I have iron sights available. I switched this out last year because I was going to go out to Ohio for the muzzleloader season. Ended up not going, but I just never got around to switching it. So I'm going to do that today. And what I'm using here is, I don't even know what brand this is. I think I ordered it on Amazon. It says Williams on the side. So, I don't know. But I do really like this sight. I know there's some higher end ones available, but this has the the fluorescent lit knock or whatever, and then the pin at the end. I don't know. I don't have any complaints. I mean, I only plan on shooting out to 100 yards, and I'm fairly accurate with this setup right now. So that's what I'm going to go with. And so that's the second rule that we have to take into consideration. I'll start tearing that down here in a second once I work through the other stuff. Now, let's go into the bullet. So this is and I completely forgot what brand or anything this bullet was, so I have the little manual right here. It's the Power Belt bullets. So this is the copper series, I believe. So I was literally just looking through this because I have no freaking clue, and that's probably not great. But I'm pretty sure this is the 50 caliber, 295 grain arrow tip copper, and it's just a copper bullet with the yellow tip on there. It comes in this little casing, and yeah, you can take a look at that. I mean, it seems to fly straight. Shot my bull last year with this, and it hit right where I was aiming. No issues. The bull went, 50 yards or whatever and dropped. So I'm going to stick with it. I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So I am going to stick with the Power Belt Copper Series bullets. Now, I also have been pulling some stuff out of this little pouch thing, and I'm going to kind of go into the stuff that makes my life a little bit easier whenever I'm actually out in the field. So because there's so many components and there's so many little things that you need to make sure you have a lot of, you need to make sure you have a lot of primers, you need to make sure you have black powder, make sure it's measured out properly, things like that. So what I do in my first little tidbit, I guess, if you will, is have some sort of ammo pouch. So this is actually, I got this off like a Camelback backpack. It's just almost like a wallet or whatever, but just for random items. It's got 3 zipper pockets, and then it folds up like this, and you can just clip it, and then it comes in like a nice little ammo pouch, basically. So I really like this thing. It has worked very well for me, and what I'll do is I will keep my bullets in one. I have probably like 10 or 15 in there. I'll keep my primers in the second one, and then in the third one, I will keep these nifty little things. So these are black powder muzzleloader little test tubes that come with a measurement on the side. So this one's filled up right at 120 grains of charge volume. I think it's measured in grains. I don't know. But 120, whatever their unit of measurement is. I measured this out with a black powder measuring cup, I guess. So this is exactly the amount that I'm looking for. And once you have that amount, then you can just fill these up to that specific volume, and it works. So that's what I got for black powder. And I'll keep those in that ammo pouch as well. Make sure that everything's in the same spot. Works out absolutely phenomenally. So if I were to make a recommendation, I would recommend that first of all, you get these little black powder things so you're not measuring out black powder into the barrel of your gun whenever you're trying to reload and there's a big bull right in front of you. Just pull these out, pour it in, bullet, ramrod, primer, and you're ready to go. All right. Also, if you guys couldn't tell, my allergies are kind of acting up a little bit, so sorry for the sniffling. Now, the next thing that I got to do is I got to take off this scope and replace it with these little pieces right here. So what I'm going to do, just kind of unscrew this right here, and hopefully this doesn't take too long. Now, I am so freaking excited to go out there this year. I drew this tag a while back, and it's, went out last year, like I told you, and man, it's so cool out there. It's so different. And last year was my first time hunting the rut, and just hearing the bulls bugle and all that stuff, it is really quite an amazing experience. Something that, I hope I never ever take for granted, just because it's so special to me, specifically to be able to spend time out in the mountains. But also, I spend time with my dad. He comes out, and we're able to just kind of hang out and have a good time. It's really, really cool. My buddy's also going to come out again this year. He helped me out a lot last year, packing out the bull and everything like that, and I think he had a great time as well. So that is going to be really fun. Being able to go out there, just really looking forward to it. All right, now once I get this scope off, I'll get it off here in 1 second. So you pop these pieces off, pop the scope off. Now it's got a bunch of these little tiny screws. And these things keep it held in nice and tight right there. My goodness. Yeah, it's been a rough fall so far with allergies. I got a video coming out here about me doing some whitetail scouting just around my area, and oh my gosh, I'm sniffling every other breath. I know that probably gets on a lot of people's nerves, so I do apologize. I'm pretty sure I have something wrong with my nose. It's just it's just how it's been for a while. I've had very bad allergies for a while, and yeah, my nose just does not help it. It gets stuffed all the time, even whenever I'm not having allergies. So it's just some that I got to work through, I guess. Or maybe I should go to the doctor. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how bad it actually gets. I subscribe to the notion that, hey, if it's not that bad, then don't worry about it too much. But it's getting pretty bad. I also have here some raw milk. So I don't know if you guys have ever had that before, but it's pretty dang good. It's like a little bit creamier than normal milk, and I freaking love it. It's so tasty and very, very delicious. All right. So we have here these two pieces. So this piece goes on the end. Pretty self-explanatory, pretty straightforward. You just screw this little piece, and I'll do that right now, so I'm not messing around with it. Now, the one thing I will say, my one little gripe about this, is that these pieces are so small. So small. These screws. They're very hard to screw in with my, just by hand. So you got to have specific tools that require and specific like Allen keys. Like it's not a very normal. It's a star-shaped Allen wrench. So you need to have this special Allen wrench to screw these in. But that's okay. I just put that one on the end right there, if you can see it. Now I'm gonna put the kind of the I don't even know what you would call that. I'm sure there's some technical term, and I'll probably screw it up, but I also don't know how far out I had this whenever I had it on there last year. See if I can pick out. Doesn't look like there's any wear marks, so I don't really know exactly, but I'll just put it on the second farthest one out there. I think that should be fine, because you know, it's only one screw. You can just adjust it. And I still have to take it to the range to sight it in once I'm done with it here. So we got time. Not a lot of time though. I mean, it's almost the middle of August. It's August 13th, and okay. So it wasn't that one. It was this one a little bit further, because these ones are a little bit bigger holes than this one that's further out. So, all right, that fits in there nicely like so. Now this part is like a 3-piece part. So you have this piece that goes in first, then you slide this second piece over top of that, and then you have a third piece that goes in there. Now this kind of like levels everything out, make sure that it's all in line. Yeah, that looks good right there, I think. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay. So, there's just this little screw on the side that you got to screw in. Again, need to sight this in for sure, but right now just guessing. Just getting all the pieces in place. Make sure that's centered. Oh. Tighten that down real good. Perfect. Okay. So, that's all in there good. It looks nice and straight. We have the front piece. We got the back piece. We got the front piece. And everything should be good to go. Now, I don't actually think I went over the actual brand of this rifle. So this is a Optima 50 caliber muzzleloader. I don't know if there's any other specification or whatever, but it's got the real tree camo, which is cool. Got this for Christmas a few years back, and I absolutely love it. I've only ever had, I've had this, and I have my regular 30-06 deer rifle, and I don't know if I'll ever switch. I mean, why would I? They work super well. They shoot straight, and they're just overall good weapons that have been very reliable for me. So why not stick with what has been working? That's exactly what I'm going to do. And now this thing is ready to get sighted in. So there's some state game lands around me that I will go and shoot this in at. And yeah, they're free to get into as long as you have a Pennsylvania hunting license. And it's honestly a great perk that the Pennsylvania Game Commission that they have is they upkeep these ranges. They go out to 100 yards usually, and that's really all I need for muzzleloader specifically. I would prefer, if they went out further, just because for my actual rifle I need to practice at some longer ranges than 100 yards. But beggars can't be choosers. So I work with what I got. And what I got is 100 yards. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I appreciate you tuning in. Remember, check out the YouTube channel, right? We post podcasts like this every Tuesday. And then every Thursday, we post a long-form video about some sort of adventure that we do. Whether that be throughout the week or on the weekend or whatever. So go check that out. Be sure to subscribe and make sure to keep it wild. Thanks, guys.